It all began with a flamingo. Not a real one, obviously. That would violate at least 3 HOA bylaws regarding unapproved fauna and disruptive biological events. No, this was a magnificent, glorious, 6-foot-tall, hot pink plastic flamingo named Fernando. I'd placed him proudly in my front yard, his graceful neck arching over a tastefully arranged bed of river stones. "My neighbor, Carol," said he, brought a smile to her face. The HOA, led by its Empress of Entitlement, Karen Breckenridge, declared him a visual assault. The notice arrived on thick, expensive parchment-like paper, as if they were serving me a royal decree. From the Board of the Eagles Crest Estates HOA. T.O. The resident of 1421 Perfection Drive. Violation Code 17.8. Non-conforming aesthetic displays. It has come to the attention of the Architectural Committee that you have installed a large, pink, avian-themed plastic statue on your property. This item has not been pre-approved, does not conform to the tasteful earth tone serenity aesthetic mandated in Bylaw 4.1, and has been deemed a public nuisance. You are hereby fined $100. You have 24 hours to remove this eyesore or face escalating daily fines. I sighed. Karen's reign of terror was well documented. She'd once fined a family for their toddler's chalk drawing of a sun on the driveway, calling it unapproved defacement of communal pavement. But Fernando was my hill to die on. He was a symbol of joy, a beacon of nonconformity in a sea of beige houses and despairingly perfect lawns. I emailed back, politely stating that Fernando was art, not an eyesore, and that I believed he enhanced the neighborhood's character. The response was instantaneous and predictably unhinged. From Karen.Breckenridge@eaglescresthoa.com. Subject: Urgent. Compliance. Art is a subjective term for something that violates objective rules. Your art is a violation. Remove it. Regards, Karen Breckenridge, HOA President. The regards was the most threatening part. I didn't remove Fernando. Instead, I submitted an official request for architectural modification form for him. Under reason for modification, I wrote, to inspire joy and combat the soul-crushing monotony of our immediate surroundings. It was denied, of course. The reason: pink is not an approved earth tone. The fines started piling up. $100 a day. I began a journal like a general documenting a war. Day 3, Fernando fine. $300 total. Noted Karen's son's monster truck parked on the street, clearly violating Code 22.4. Vehicles over 8,000 pounds prohibited. Day 7. Fines now $700. Took photo of Karen's house. Her fence is at least 7 feet tall. Bylaw 12.2 clearly states fence height max of 6 feet. I was documenting everything, but I needed a bigger play, a checkmate, and then I saw it. The key wasn't just within the HOA's labyrinthine rules. It was just outside them. Eagles Crest Estates was built around a beautiful, spring-fed lake. It was the neighborhood's crown jewel. Every backyard on the cul-de-sac had a little dock, and residents swam, fished, and kayaked in it constantly. We all just assumed it was HOA common property. One evening, drowning my frustrations in county clerk website archives, I decided to look up the plat maps for the lake itself, and I found a fascinating little detail. The HOA owned the land around the lake. But the lake itself, the actual body of water, the lakebed, the water rights, had never been formally deeded to them by the original developer. It was a separate parcel, listed as Lot 100, Springwater Basin, and it was for sale. The developer's company had gone bankrupt years ago, and the assets were being liquidated by a holding firm. They had no idea what they were sitting on. I called the holding company. The man on the phone sounded bored. Lot 100? Yeah, the basin. We've been trying to unload that for years. No one wants just the water. You can't build on it. What's your offer? My heart was pounding. I tried to sound equally bored. I don't know. It's basically a liability. $5,000. He didn't even hesitate. Sold. For the price of a used dirt bike, I became the sole owner of the 20-acre lake that the entire Eagles Crest Estates community relied on for their recreation. I immediately had a new survey done, filed the deed with the county, and erected tasteful, legally required private property, and no trespassing signs at every access point to the water. I even put up a small sign on my own dock that read, "Authorized access only. All others subject to trespassing laws and daily access fees." The trap was set. Took about a week for the neighborhood to notice. The first incident was Karen herself, trying to take her morning swim off her dock. I was sitting on my patio, sipping coffee, watching the show unfold through my binoculars like a nature documentary. She stood at the end of her dock, looked at my sign, scoffed, and dove in. I let her finish her lap. As she climbed out, dripping and self-satisfied, I called out from my yard, "Morning, Karen. Lovely day for a swim on private property." She froze, her towel halfway to her hair. "Excuse me? This is my dock. This is our lake." "Your dock is on your property," I said calmly. "The moment your toes left that dock and touched the water, you entered my lake. Lot 100. I own it. All of it." The color drained from her face. You can't be serious." "I'm very serious. Consider that a warning. Next time there will be a fee." I smiled and took a sip of my coffee. "Have a blessed day." The neighborhood chat exploded. People were confused, then angry, then panicked. Karen sent a blistering email to the entire HOA. Subject: an outrageous bluff. "Dear residents, it has come to my attention that a certain resident is making fraudulent claims of owning Springwater Lake. Let me assure you, this is a pathetic attempt at intimidation. The lake is, and always has been, HOA property. We are consulting our attorneys. Do not be alarmed. Karen." I simply replied all to her email with a single PDF attachment. The file deed from the county, with my name clearly listed as the owner of Lot 100. The chat went silent. The emergency HOA meeting was held in the clubhouse. It was standing room only. The air was thick with tension. Karen stood at the podium, her face a mask of controlled rage. "People, please settle down," she began, tapping the microphone. "This is all a simple misunderstanding that our legal counsel will clear up. We will not be held hostage by one man's petty vengeance." I stood up from my seat in the back. "It's not vengeance, Karen. It's commerce. And it's not a misunderstanding. It's property law." She glared at me. "You are disrupting the lives of every family here. You are denying children the chance to swim. You are a bully." The irony was so thick you could swim in it. I walked to the front, holding my manila folder of justice. "Let's talk about disruption, Karen. Let's talk about the $2,400 in fines I've accrued for a plastic flamingo you find disruptive. Let's talk about the rules you enforce so zealously on others." I opened my folder. Speaking of rules, while we're here, I thought we could review a few. Bylaw 22.4 prohibits vehicles over 8,000 pounds. Your son's Ford F-350 Super Duty, which is perpetually parked on the street, has a curb weight of 8,600 pounds. That's a violation. I placed a photo of the truck on the projector. Bylaw 12.2 limits fence height to 6 feet. A recent measurement of your backyard fence shows it stands at 7 feet, 1 inch. Violation. I placed a photo of the truck on the projector. Bylaw 12.2 limits fence height to 6 feet. A recent measurement of your backyard fence shows it stands at 7 feet, 1 inch. Violation. I placed the photo with a measuring tape clearly visible. And my personal favorite, Bylaw 9.1, which explicitly prohibits all commercial activity or home-based businesses. Yet, you run your Essential Oils MLM, Breckenridge Botanicals, out of your garage with customers and delivery trucks coming and going daily. You even have a business sign on your window. That's not just a violation, Karen. That's a full-blown enterprise. The crowd gasped. They'd all been annoyed by her incessant pitches for lavender oil that could cure anxiety. "You've been fining us for pink flamingos," I said, my voice rising, "while you're running an illegal business and breaking the very structural rules you weaponize against us. You're not a leader. "You're a hypocrite." The room erupted. People were shouting, calling for her resignation. In the face of a mutiny and undeniable evidence of her own violations, Karen had no choice. She was voted out as president that very night. She resigned from the board and slunk away from the meeting, her reign of terror finally over. The new board, a group of reasonable neighbors who were just as tired of the tyranny as I was, asked to meet with me. We worked out a deal. I dissolved all my fines. In return, the HOA formally acknowledged my ownership of the lake. We established an annual community access pass. For a nominal fee of $50 per household per year, all residents could use the lake as they always had. But I had one special clause. A Karen clause, if you will. The new HOA board, wanting to make amends, agreed. Karen Breckenridge and her immediate household were explicitly excluded from the annual pass. Their names were on a list. If Karen wanted to swim in my lake, she would have to pay a daily rate. So now here we are. Fernando the flamingo stands proud in my front yard, officially approved by the new, saner arc. My lawn is a little longer. My mailbox is a funky cobalt blue, and my soul is at peace. The best part? Last weekend, I saw Karen's family sitting on their dock, looking longingly at the water. Her kids were begging to swim. She marched over to my house, her face pinched. "I want to buy a day pass," she said through gritted teeth. I smiled, pulled out a little receipt book I'd bought just for this occasion, and wrote it out slowly. 1 daily access pass for the Breckenridge household. That will be $250. Her jaw dropped. $250? That's outrageous. Supply and demand, Karen, I said sweetly. It's a premium experience. And besides, you of all people should understand the importance of strictly enforced fees. She wrote the check so hard she nearly tore the paper. I framed that first check. I call it the victory check. Now, I sit on my patio, watching the neighbors enjoy the lake under their annual passes. The community is happier, the rules are sane, and every time Karen has to pay to dip her toes in the water, it's a little reminder that sometimes the pettiest revenge is the most just.